Hello everybody. Just getting everything set up here. This evening I decided I was going to go back and rewatch the bond hearing, so I figured might as well do it live. So here we go.
All right, have Mr. Bonner, please.
Please step out in the hallway. There was no room for
That's fine. If we can announce for Mr. Bonner. Yes, sir. If you will come around and come up here, if you'll remain standing and just raise your right hand when you get up here, okay? You remain standing, raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements you give before the court today to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, you may be seated. If you would, just slide that mic closer to you when you sit down and just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Bonner.
Good morning.
Or should I say pastor?
Just Ben.
Just being. All right. Where do you work?
I'm lead pastor at Catalyst Church, Carrollton, Georgia.
That's here in Carrollton, Georgia?
Yes, sir.
About how far is it from this location?
113, couple miles. I'm geographically challenged, not my gift, but 2 to 4 miles,
Okay.
I guess.
About how many minutes would you think?
From here, it depends on the time of day, 5 to 10.
All right, 5 to 10 minutes, so not very far.
No, ma'am.
How long have you been the pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton?
We started Catalyst in 2017, so since the beginning, I was one of the founding pastors.
And do you have services every week?
Every week. Yes,
What days are those services on?
We have 2 services on Sunday, 9 and 10:30.
Now, in relation to this case, were you asked to write a letter about Sarah's character?
Yes, I was asked to write a letter. Well, I honestly offered anything I could do to help any of the family. I want to be a support.
May I approach her?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Defense Bond Exhibit 2. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I actually brought a copy, so in case I need to read it.
Is that your letter?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anything been altered or deleted from it?
No.
Okay. Defense seeks to tender defense Bond Exhibit 2 in the evidence.
Any objection from the state?
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor, would you read that letter that you prepared?
Yes. To Honorable Judge, my name is Ben Bonner, and I serve as lead pastor at Catalyst Church in Carrollton, Georgia. I'm writing on behalf of Sarah Grace Patrick, a young woman who's been a part of our church family for about a year now. Sarah Grace first came to Catalyst around a year ago. From the beginning, she was eager to grow in her faith and get involved. She made a personal decision to be baptized not long after attending, and has stayed consistently connected to the church ever since. She didn't just show up on Sundays. She came during the week as well, asked questions, served, invited others, including her boyfriend at the time, and clearly found a place where she felt at home. Throughout the past year, and even through the challenges of this year, she has continued to attend services regularly. She and her family often travel over an hour just to be with us. I've spoken and prayed with Sarah Grace many times throughout this season. Her commitment to staying grounded in her faith and connected to a healthy community has remained steady. She's even called from jail multiple times so I could pray with her. Her father has also become an active part of the church. He was baptized recently, and he still comes to services faithfully. It's a privilege to walk with their family during such a difficult time, and we love and care for them deeply. If it's possible and the court sees fit to grant Sarah Grace bond, we would gladly continue to walk alongside her as a church. We believe having her with her family and church community is an important part of her support system. We're committed to loving her well, encouraging her, and helping her continue on a positive path. Thank you for your time considering this. Sincerely, Ben Bonner.
Thank you. Pastor, are there other members of your church or congregation here in the courtroom with us, or are you in the hallway?
They're in the hallway. I brought a few staff, and then there's some other church families spread out that were connected to Kristen James, Sarah Grace, all the family, which they brought to the church.
Okay. Now, you said that Sarah and her family came back in August of last year. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When they came, were they just attending, or were they further engaged in activities at the church?
No, they the entire family, James, Kristen, Sarah Grace, they jumped right in. That's why it's hard. They became very, very beloved between August and February. I mean, our church family adores all of them, everybody, we're for the entire family. So.
Okay. And Sarah, specifically as it relates to Sarah Grace, was she involved or engaged in other programs throughout the church other than attending Sunday services?
Yes, the entire family in multiple teams. The entire family in multiple teams, from cleaning to kids, kids ministry. I have a staff now, so and a lot of team leaders. The church looks a lot different the last several years with growth, but they were engaged in multiple teams. And if you ever need me to give a list, because I don't want to misspeak, I could get an actual list of all the things the family and Sarah Grace were engaged in.
But it's just safe to say they were involved in more than just Sunday service.
Yes, they were there in the week.
I wonder what type of, if they were in any kind of like addiction groups, or what type of church groups they were in, and if that will end up coming in the case.
They were there during the week, not just on Sundays helping. So.
All right. Now, you said in your letter that family still comes over an hour to come to your church on Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you referencing DJ?
DJ, yes, DJ, and then DJ Junior, little DJ, and everybody still comes except, of course, Jaylee, because she lives away with her grandmother. That's a long drive, but they all actively come and consistently. Even now that Sarah Grace hasn't been able to come, they continue to come consistently.
And just for clarity, who is DJ?
Sarah Grace's father. Thank you. I want to make sure I'm clear.
No problem. Now, you indicated that you would do whatever in your letter to help in this regard with Sarah. Have you facilitated people at the court's instruction before?
Over the years, multiple times I have come to this room a couple of times and offered to facilitate any way that would, if there's any way to make the court and you feel comfortable, we'll do anything we can to facilitate. We just want to help. Y'all have a great call, and ours is to support and love. Y'all are the jury and the judges, and so anything we can do, we're willing to help, to make that happen.
And coming to a close here, you indicated that Sarah still calls you while she's been incarcerated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you have conversations with Sarah, are the substance of those conversations about do you believe me or anything like that?
Two things she calls. It's been two things every time. One is to thank me. Thank me for everything, and it's particularly for her dad. He's just engaged. He's growing. He's really growing his relationship with God. I can never make sense of tragedies like this. It's terrible what everybody's been through, but watching Beauty for Ashes and seeing DJ love the Lord and engage in his faith is beautiful. So she'll call me first. He came to the altar a couple times. We've been able to pray with him recently. So there's victories that she'll call and thank me and then ask me to pray for her. And she's actually reading some books that were recommended to her that changed my mother's life. My mother was a pretty rough addict, and those books vicariously through her changed mine. And so she's reading them, and so she'll talk to me about that. So it's three things: prayer, thankfulness, and what she's reading.
All right, that's all I have for you, Ben. The state may have some questions for you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks. State?
I don't have any questions for you, Pastor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Pastor Bonner, you've testified, so you're welcome to stay in the courtroom unless y'all think there's any other reason for him to.
You can be excused as far as the state's concerned.
All right, then you can remain in the courtroom if there's room.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Defense now calls Katie O'Keefe.
Katie O'Keefe. Ma'am, if you'll come up, just remain standing, raise your right hand once you're for me. All right, you'll raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements given before the court today the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Maybe see if you would just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you.
Is it okay if I call you Katie?
Yeah, I prefer it.
Okay. All right, Katie. How do you know Sarah Grace?
Can we? You need that spelling. Okay.
My name's actually Caitlin.
Could you state your name?
My name's
Spell it,
Caitlin
please.
O'Keefe, KAITLIN, O''KEEFE.
All right. How do you know Sarah Grace?
I think this lady was in our chat last night. Talking a little bit about Sarah.
I met Sarah about 3 days after all this happened with her mom and dad.
And how did you come to meet her?
I was friends with her dad. We used to play cell phone games. He told me what happened. Told me that the kids didn't have any clothes. Like that, since the house was closed off, they didn't have anything. So I've taken in a child or two in my time. So my heart broke for it, and I was like, please let me take her shopping. So I came and picked Sarah up and took her to get clothes, underwear, deodorant, your basics.
And since that time, so that would have been.
When she was in our chat last night, she said that she got her that blue dress too. That the mean answer saying that I guess she looked too revealing or inappropriate or whatever. So yeah, this lady right here. So she seems pretty nice.
Would that have been in February?
It was February 23rd or 4th, I believe, yeah.
Since that time, did you continue a relationship with Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah actually ended up moving in with me. It was a better situation for her. I had an extra bedroom. She came to stay with me after everything happened with her mom. She used to lay in the bed. She would cry and sob, and I'd watch her grieve.
Did you have any disciplinary problems or any type of issues with Sarah while she was at your house?
Not even one.
So apparently, this lady trusted Sarah enough to sleep in the same house with her. If she was that suspicious or that weird or that abnormal, this lady seems pretty normal to me. Like she would say something or do something.
Honestly, like, I've had some teenagers and one that gave me a hard time, and Sarah was a pleasure. She was easy.
Do you still have a friendship or any type of relationship with other members of Sarah's family?
Yes, I talked to her grandma, grandpa, her dad, and little brother live with me. I talk to Sarah every day.
So since she's been incarcerated, you've spoken to her?
Every day.
Every day. And do you all pray together as Pastor Ben indicated or anything like that?
Every day. You can't stop her from praying.
Now, are you aware if at any time during her stay with you, did she have a driver's license?
No, she had her permit, and we would go practice driving. She wasn't ready to get the license yet. She was not ready.
Safer for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. And does she have access to her own personal vehicle that you know of?
No.
During the time that she was with you, was
They're trying to determine if she's a flight risk, and apparently she doesn't even have her driver's license, so that's interesting.
she attending school?
She actually worked really hard and graduated a year early.
Where was she attending?
She was going to Central here in Carrollton.
And you said she graduated early. What do you mean by that?
And she worked hard. She was on track to graduate early before all this happened. But I mean, even after this happened, like, there were some rough times. But when we found like a peaceful moment, I'd be like, let's get your schoolwork done. Let's make your mom proud by showing her you finished this. You know, and that was a big goal for Sarah.
And do you know how old Sarah is?
She's 17.
Did you know, or during the time that she was with you, did she have a job?
She did. She worked down the street at a local restaurant.
And do you know if there were any problems that you are aware of at the restaurant?
No, they loved her. They still love her. They ask about her all the time when I go up there.
I believe that's all I have for you. I don't know, the state may have some questions
All
for
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. State, any questions?
I think I have just one for clarification. You did not know the defendant prior to the shooting, is that right? You
No.
It's after, is that what you said?
After.
Okay, that's what I'm
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Thank you. Can you follow up?
No.
All right. Can this witness be excused?
Yes.
All right. Maybe excused, but you can remain in the court. Okay. Neither of you asked for sequestration. It's not really necessary here, but y'all are good.
I'm good, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
We call Carrie Jensen.
Carrie Jensen.
This is another lady I've seen online, but I don't remember in what context.
All right, Ms. Jensen, same as the others. If you'll raise your right hand. You swear affirming statements made before the court that is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, if you'll be seated, speak loudly and clearly, and let's just start off by stating your name and spelling it for us so the court reporter can get that down.
Carrie Jensen, CarrieJensen.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Jensen. How do you know Sarah?
I met Sarah when she was in 7th grade. Her and my daughter became best friends, and I became really good friends with her father and stepmother at the time.
Okay. And so you've known her since 7th grade. How old is that?
13, 12.
Okay. And during that time, have you known Sarah Grace to cause you any problems or get into any mischief with your daughter or anything like that?
Not at all. I mean, they'd fight over boys. But no, she's been an angel.
Just typical teenager stuff.
Typical teenager stuff.
Now, during the course of this case, were you asked to, or did you offer to write a letter in support of Sarah?
I sure did.
May I approach her?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you, Carrie, what's been marked as Defensive Bond Exhibit 7. Do you recognize it?
I do.
Okay. And what is it?
It's my letter to Judge Hightower.
And has it been changed or altered, or any deletions or additions in any way?
No.
Seek to admit Defense Bond Exhibit 7.
Any objection to the statement?
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry for the numbers being a little off. I didn't know who would be here and who wouldn't be.
It's all right.
All right. Would you read your letter for the court?
Sure. Dear Judge Hightower, my name is Carrie Jensen, and I'm writing this letter on behalf of Sarah Grace. I first met Sarah when she was in 7th grade. She and my daughter attended the same middle school, and her stepsister played softball with my daughter. Our families quickly grew close. Sarah would spend weekends at our house, and my daughter Caitlin would do the same at theirs. We've shared camping trips together and weekends at West Point, creating strong bonds between our families. They have been best friends since. At the time, Donna and Kristen were in the middle of a custody battle. When I first met Sarah, she was a little shy, very sweet, kind, and humble. She was cautious around new people, but soon she warmed up to me and once told me I had a motherly presence that made her feel safe. As our relationship grew, she began to open up to me about her past and experiences with Kristen and James. One thing she said,
You don't really, like in my experience, you don't give somebody a compliment like that about how motherly they are unless you appreciate that about them. And I don't know, just leave it at that.
that has always stayed with me was, no matter what they've done, I will always forgive them and love them, because deep down, I know that's not who they truly are. The statement showed the depth of Sarah's heart. She truly believes in forgiveness and has always extended the same grace to others. She once told me that holding grudges isn't what God wants for us, and I've carried that wisdom with me ever since. While staying at our house, Sarah was full of life, happy, upbeat, and in many ways a typical teenager. But there were also signs of trauma she endured. She would often apologize for things she never had to. Like she would asking for food, taking a shower, or using the bathroom. It was heartbreaking. Despite that, she remained incredibly kind, respectful, and especially patient with my son, who is on the autism spectrum.
And some people are just like this naturally. They just apologize a lot, and they feel like they're invading space whenever they're really not. And especially women, we're kind of raised to apologize a lot and say sorry, whenever it really doesn't make sense to say.
And is the same age as Sarah. She was fiercely protective of him and everyone she cared about. Sarah has a huge heart. She is loving, protective, and deeply rooted in her faith. She has always expressed a strong, She has always expressed a strong desire to work in radiology field and has never been afraid of hard work. Hurting someone simply isn't in her nature or character. Over the years, I have held her through moments of deep pain and tears, and through it all, her love to her family, especially her siblings, Jaylee and Donnie, has remained unwavering. She would never do anything to harm them. She wants only to protect them. I respectfully ask that you consider granting Sarah Grace bond. She is not a threat to anyone. She is deeply loved and supported by my family, by me, and her own family. I truly believe she deserves a chance to be home, surrounded by those who care about her. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that she deserves to be home, in your opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
And would you agree, or you can disagree with me, that you would be a part of her village if she were home?
Absolutely.
And what would that entail?
Whatever she needed. If she needed a place to stay, she can stay at our house. She needed rides. Me, my daughter, or my husband would be more than glad to take her anywhere she needed. Whatever she needed is at her disposal with us.
And I think this is really nice because, like, I know if I would have ever gotten into trouble whenever I was, younger, her age, nobody would have ever came and spoke to the court about me. Nobody.
Thank you, Ms. Jensen. That's all I have, and if you'll hand that letter up to the judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the state may have some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
State, any questions?
A handful, Doug.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Michael Parrish. I'm representing the state in this case. You said that your daughter and the defendant went to school together, is that right?
Yes, they did.
What school was that?
They went to East Coweta Middle.
Now, were you aware that at some point the defendant attended an alternative school?
Yes.
Okay, and what's that alternative school? How does that function?
I'm really not familiar with that. I'm so sorry.
Okay, is that related to disciplinary issues as far as you understand?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
You said you would be part of her village and that she could actually stay with you.
If need be.
Do you live here in Carrollton?
No, I live in Wadowee, Alabama.
Wadowee, Alabama?
Yeah.
So obviously. I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Another favor.
Any reason to hold this witness?
No, you're right.
Non-limitation.
All right, you may be released, and you can stay in the courtroom.
Call Caitlin Jensen.
All right, Mrs. Come on up. There you go. Raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the statements made before the court that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right. Now, you're going to have to speak up just a little bit. I know you're nervous. That's a big crowd and it's intimidating, okay? But we've got to be able to hear you. So when you sit down, speak clearly into that microphone. And look, you're here as a witness, so there's nothing to be afraid of. All right? So take your time, take a deep breath. I'm not going to let anybody get too bad on you, all right? Okay.
This guy seems really nice.
So grab a seat right there, and let's try it out with your name. All right, you'll say your name loudly and clearly, and then spell it for my court reporter.
My name is Caitlin Jensen, CAITLYNJENSEN.
All right, if you stay right there, we're going to be okay. If you
Okay.
go any lower, I'm going to have to tell you to pick it up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, Caitlin. How old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
And are you and Sarah friends?
Yes, ma'am.
And is Carrie your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I heard your mom say that you guys went to school together. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
At East Coweta?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you gone to school together since then, or that was the last time you went to school together?
I'm going to say 9th grade. She started at East Coweta High School, and then she moved.
Is that when, do you know if that's when she moved with your mom?
I'm going to say yes.
Now, so that was 9th grade, but have you guys continued to be friends since then?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you say friends, talk to me about what that looks like. Are you guys talking on the phone? On
Via Snapchat sometimes. We would call. I'd check in on her. I was never allowed over at her house.
but she was allowed at your house.
Yes, ma'am. I'd go and get her.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I would go and get her.
Okay, you would go and get her. So you have a car,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, and you have a driver's license,
Yes, ma'am.
and we shouldn't be scared.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm a great driver.
Okay. Now, so you guys have kept in touch over the years, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you guys keep in touch, what sort of things do you do?
Well, usually I go and get her, and then we go to the gas station and get something to eat. It's an hour 30 drive back home, so we'd blast music like teenagers would do, going home. And we'd go home, and I have a 2-year-old son, and we would play with him for hours until he fell asleep. And then we'd watch movies.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Now, at any time have you, well, let me ask this. Have you talked to Sarah since she's been incarcerated?
I have.
And what have those conversations been like?
telling me she loves me. She's so thankful for me. She's excited to get to go on the jet skis again one day, have fun, be a teenager, and then we pray.
Okay. Now, are you attending church too?
I also had a 15-year-old son whenever I was. I'm a 15-year-old son. I also had a 2-year-old son whenever I was 17, so no judgment.
I used to.
But you're not at Catalyst Church?
No, ma'am.
Because
That's
too
far.
far away.
That is far.
No problem. Now, were you in contact with Sarah after the incident happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have any concerns about Sarah leaving or running or trying to get away in any way?
No.
Okay. Did she ask you to come pick her up and take her back to Alabama and hide her or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I think that's all I have for you. Take notes.
Thank you.
State, any questions?
I think I may just have one. When was the last time that the defendant was in Alabama at your house?
I really don't remember the date. It was the day I took her. She said she may get her phone back, and I took her that day. And then I took her to Wadawi. We were gonna have a sleepover, and then we got the phone call that she needed to come back home.
Okay, so if I were to tell you that she was arrested July 9th, you would say it's sometime in the days just before that.
July 8th.
July 8th.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. No other
You're
questions?
No further questions, right?
All right, any reason to hold this witness?
No, you're right.
Not in this one.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tasha Meza.
Tasha Meza.
M-E-Z-A. She's outside, I believe.
I seen this lady in the internet streets too.
Swedish, how many more witnesses do you have?
This is the one?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more.
Okay. You're going to come up here and you'll walk around that area here and come up. I'll give you some direction once you're up here. All right, you'll come on and remain standing and raise your right hand. You swear affirm the statements you give before the court today be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so be God. All right, you may be seated. If you would, speak loudly and clearly into that microphone. And let's start off by just stating your name and spelling it for my court reporter.
Tasha Meza, Tasha. That's a Meza.
Thank you.
Miss Meza, how do you know Sarah Grace?
I met Sarah after me and Kristen became friends. I was at the doctor's office and just invited her to church. And then we became really good friends.
And when you say church, are you talking about the Catalyst Church?
Yep.
Where Pastor Ben is the pastor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you invited them to church, did they ever come?
Yeah. 2 weeks later, they come
And did they continue to come after that?
every Sunday.
To your knowledge, were they involved in activities throughout the week or just Sunday service?
At first, it just started as Sunday service, and then as they grew in the church, they become more involved.
Now, were you able to observe and spend time with and have a relationship with Sarah Grace personally?
Yes, her and my daughter were friends, so I've seen them quite often.
And so, since you go to the Catalyst Church, I'm assuming you stay local somewhere close by?
Yeah, I only stay about 2 minutes from the church.
2 minutes from the church. So, 7 minutes from here, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. And at any point, okay, so let me ask you this. When did you meet Kristen?
It was back in August.
Okay. Of last year?
Yes.
That's pretty recently.
And when you met her during that time, how often would you say that you had occasion to spend with her and Sarah?
For the beginning of the part, we just stayed on the phone mainly, and then as we grew closer, we went to birthday parties and cookouts and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it was a few times.
But would you agree that most of the time you spent was at church?
Yes.
Now, did you hear Pastor Ben testify?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit. He indicated that he and the church would be willing to facilitate Sarah in any way if Judge Hightower were to give her a bond. Are you a part of? Do you share that sentiment?
I agree.
And would you be willing to be a part of Sarah's village to help facilitate her here in Carrollton in some way?
I've already been a part of it, so I'm not going to stop now.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
State, any questions?
Nothing to
All right, you're good. Any reason to hold the witness?
No, you don't.
Nothing to say?
You can be excused.
My last witness is Ms. Shavina Rogers.
Attorneys, can y'all approach just a minute? You're good. Come on up. Just had to ask a question. If you would raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. And if you would, same as the others, once you're seated, just state your name and spell it from a court reporter, please.
My name is Shavina Rogers, spelled Shaveena. Last name Rogers, Rogers.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Rogers, how are you employed?
I'm employed by the state of Georgia at the Georgia Public Defender Council.
And what's your job title?
I'm a criminal defense investigator.
And are you a criminal defense investigator for a medium law?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And have you been working on this case at my direction?
This lady already seems 1,000 times more credible than Erica Morris.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you recall me asking you to run a GCIC on Sarah Grace Patrick?
Yes.
And would you
GCIC?
briefly explain what a GCIC is?
GCIC is a Georgia Criminal Investigation Center, and is ran by the GBI, the Georgia Borough Crime System. And what I do is for each client, I run their CCH, client or witnesses of each case. I run their CCH, and that's their computerized criminal history.
Okay. And did you do that for this case?
I did.
Oh, may I approach your hand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked as defensive bond exhibit 1. Do you recognize it?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
It's Sarah Grace Patrick's criminal history record.
Okay, and is that the criminal history record that you ran through it?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the report that you received once you put it into a computer?
Yes.
Has it been changed or altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Seek to admit defense bond exhibit 1.
Any objection from the state?
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted.
Now, when you ran that GCIC or criminal history on Sarah Grace Patrick, was there any return?
Just one.
Okay, and what was that return?
What we are here for today, the same case number.
Okay. And would that indicate to you that she had not been arrested in the state of Georgia for anything else?
No prior criminal history.
Now, in the course of also investigating this case, have you talked to witnesses? I'm sorry, not witnesses. People who wanted to stand in support of Sarah.
I have.
And were you sent emails of letters about their support?
Several of them, yes, ma'am.
Williams, while he looks at that,
I bet this lady knows some shit.
on the GCIC, since it's been admitted, have you redacted any personal information that's on there? Because what we may need to do, I haven't seen it yet, but sometimes there's personal identifying information that needs to be redacted.
I have not. I can provide the court with a redacted copy.
Okay, either that or we can get my clerk to black it out.
That would be fine.
Okay, all right. State, I'm assuming no objection to making those redactions. I think those would be appropriate.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
No.
May I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Rogers, I'm showing you what's been marked, and sorry again for the jump around on numbers. As defense bond exhibits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. Do you recognize those?
Give me a second. I do.
And what are they?
These are character witnesses letters that were sent for Sarah Patrick.
And did you receive those in your email?
I did.
Your state issued email address?
Yes, ma'am.
And have they been changed and altered in any way since you received them in that form?
No, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, did you run those copies for me?
I did.
For today?
Yes.
Okay. Seek to admit defense bond exhibits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9.
Any objection from the state?
That's correct.
All right, they'll be admitted.
Now, with those letters, I don't know if the court prefers if Ms. Rogers were to read them or if the court can read them at your meeting.
I'll read them.
Okay.
I can read
All right,
them.
you'll hand those to.
In the GCIC. Thank you.
Now, during the course of me asking you to do some investigation on this case, were you able to determine if Sarah Grace was working before she was arrested?
She was working at Subway.
Okay. Was that Subway in Carrollton, Georgia?
Yes.
And were you able to speak to her supervisor?
I was put on hold. They seemed very busy. I had to call multiple times for someone to even answer the phone.
At any point, did you get a letter from her supervisor?
Yes.
And was that letter one of those letters that we just entered into evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that letter in support of Sarah Grace?
Yes.
And her supervisor didn't have to do that. So just keep that in mind.
Now, the GCIC that you ran, and I'm double back into that, did it indicate that Sarah Grace had a driver's license?
No.
Right, I believe it's all that. Thank you.
No problem.
State, any questions?
Just a couple of them.
Okay.
As part of your investigation, did you look into any other areas where the defendant lived over the past 5 years?
I didn't. I spoke with family members, but that's about it.
You don't know what other areas she was living in over the past 5 years?
I believe she was living in Fairburn at one point, Sonoya, Georgia at one point.
Fairburn, Sonoya?
Yes.
Those are the only two other than Carrollton that you're aware of?
Yes.
Did you look into the alternative school that she attended?
I did not.
Can you pull up that GCIC one more time for me?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
And can you just tell me what the charges she currently has in this case are?
2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
No problem.
Can you follow up?
Nothing further.
You can step down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He just wanted to make her read it aloud for dramatic effect.
Fence.
That's all for witnesses, Your Honor. It's just reserved for argument.
Okay. State, you're going to be up next, but if you're going to give me just a few minutes, let me read through these letters. Okay. Thank you. State.
The state has three individuals that we'd like to call pursuant to the Victims' Bill of Rights. First is going to be Kim Gold.
Okay.
And Judge, all three are going to come up with the prepared statements. They want to type up.
All right.
You will not be typing those statements.
Okay. You raise your right hand for me. You swear to affirm the statements given before the court today, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
You stand and speak clearly and loudly in that microphone. If you'll start off by just stating your name and spelling it for my court.
Here we go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kim Bowling, K-I-M.
No. Let me tell you. It's the same as that young girl that was stuck. And take your time. Right? We're not in a rush this morning. So take a deep breath and take your time.
B-O-W-L-I-N-G.
Ms. Bowling,
Yes.
can you go ahead and tell us how you related to this case?
Jamie is my brother, my only brother I have left, my only sibling I have had.
And like the judge said, you take your time. What do you think the judge needs to know about what's going on with you and your family?
I have something to read. Your Honor, my name is Kim Bowling, and I'm Jamie's sister. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Since this tragic day, my brother Jamie and his wife Kristen were taken from us. I have become their voice as they no longer have one. I would like to share how this brutal tragedy has affected me. I not only lost my brother, but also my sister-in-law in the most horrific way imaginable. Every night I lay awake, unable to sleep, haunted by the thought.
So everybody's talking about how the eulogy of Sarah Grace was all about her. But is this victim, or it's not a victim impact statement, it's a bond hearing. If it was a victim impact statement, it would be, I guess, more about her. But ain't about her. Is my point. Like, it ain't about her. It's about whether Sarah should get bond or not.
Of what my brother Jamie and Kristen might have experienced in those final moments. With the possibility that they were awake when the defendant entered their room with a gun. And I imagine their terror in their final breaths. The defendant is charged with the brutal murders of my brother, Jamie, and my sister-in-law while they were lying in their bed. Shot multiple times, including both shot in the head. He was.
Mr. Parrish, can you put that right there? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parrish.
My 5-year-old niece was then woke up to find their parents lifeless. The trauma this innocent child will carry for the rest of her life is unfathomable. And what makes this even more heartbreaking is that her sister loved the defendant. She looked up to her, and for reasons I will never understand, the defendant caused such imaginable pain. And I'm so thankful that Jaylee's life was spared. With all of this in mind, I am deeply concerned about Jaylee's safety should the defendant be released on bond.
She was perfectly safe before she went to jail.
Jamie and Kristen had turned their lives around. They were actively involved in church, had found happiness, and were living a great life. They did not deserve what happened to them. I ask you, please.
Them not deserving what happened to them really has nothing to do with the bond.
Please consider the following factors when deciding whether to grant a bond. My first concern is flight risk. The defendant has financial resources provided by the immediate family, which would enable her to flee. Her family maintains that she is innocent, and given her manipulative behavior, I believe she may attempt to flee. Second concern.
What? I'd like to know what manipulative behavior she's talking about.
Concern is witness intimidation. The defendant has shown a pattern of intimidation towards family members and others with knowledge of the crime. I fear that if she's released, she will...
And I'd like to know more about that, too. Intimidation, from everything I've heard, she's been kind and sweet and nice, so I don't really understand that.
Continue this behavior.
I mean, devil's advocate here, she could influence her younger sister's account of things that happened. I get that, but because she was a witness to it, but they could also, separate the two and, not have them together, not be staying in the same house kind of thing, so.
Behavior to silence anyone who could testify against her. My third concern is evidence. The brutality of these murders is not in dispute. My family and I have seen the death certificates, and although we are not aware of exactly how many shots were fired, we do know that there were multiple gunshots to both Jamie and Kristen. Personal safety. If the defendant can kill her own parents in such a violent manner, I fear for my own safety and the safety of my family and friends. The possibility that she could harm us is terrifying, and I urge you to consider this in your decision. I believe...
I wish I had the camera on Sarah whenever she was saying this, just to see what her reaction was.
And her support.
Because she was, like I said earlier, she was safe before she went to jail, so I don't understand.
And I support our justice system.
Except the fact that now, me and aunties are out here talking mad shit.
And the hard work of Carroll County Sheriff's Office and investigators. And most importantly, I'm a Christian who believes in Jesus Christ. My prayer is that justice will be served for Jamie and Kristen, and their bond will be denied for the defendant as she has shown that she is capable of extreme violence and manipulation. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak and share my concerns. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing else for this witness, right?
No questions.
Any reason me to hold this witness?
No, you.
Nothing, Susan.
Thank you. You may step down. Stay.
Our next witness is going to be Tristan Brock.
Mr. Brock, you'll raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the statements you give before this court today, with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I think this is Jamie's older son that he had before they got together.
You'll be seated. Speak loudly and clearly in that microphone. Let's start with your name and then spell it for me, okay?
Yes, sir. My name is Tristan Brock, TrystenBrock.
Mr. Brock, how are you related to this case?
I am James's oldest son.
And what do you think the judge needs to hear?
Yes, sir, I put together a statement for you. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Tristan Brock. I am James's oldest son. First, I wanted to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I am here to share with the court how my life has been affected by this heinous crime. Your Honor, it feels like I'm living in a nightmare. I'm depressed. I struggle to sleep. I can't even walk through my own living room without seeing his urn and be reminded of everything all over again. I miss my father deeply. I wish I could see him again. I wish he could have met his grandson. And above all, I wish I could just hear his voice one more time. But instead now, what I have is an urn that represents memories we made and the countless memories that will never be. As a little boy, I believed my dad was the strongest Superman, that no matter what happened, he would always be there. But that belief, that dream, is now a shattered illusion. And instead of healing, I find myself reliving the shock, pain, and confusion every single day. I haven't even been able to begin to grieve. Before you make your decision regarding bond, I respectfully ask that you consider several critical factors. First and foremost, I believe the defendant poses a serious flight risk. Her family has significant financial resources and a wide support network, both of which could easily be used to help her evade law enforcement.
Something tells me he copied off the other lady.
If she were released. These are not speculative concerns. They are grounded in the reality of her background and the means available to her. Additionally, based on her past behavior and what I know of her personally, I do not believe she has the integrity or accountability required to face the consequences.
This was live streamed, so.
For giving me the chance to be heard.
I don't have any other questions for you.
No questions.
All right. Any reason me to hold this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing is
You may step down. Thank you.
The judge state has one more witness. And that will be Kelly Brown.
Kelly Brown.
And he'll be reading a statement on behalf of the 12-year-old son of James Brock. His name is Jaden Brock, J-A-Y-E-D-N.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Brown. If you'll remain standing, raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the statements made before the court today be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you may proceed.
This lady, I think, is a TikTok lady. Kelly with that IE.
If you would speak loudly and clearly into the microphone, let's start with your name and spelling, please.
My name is Kelly Brown, Kellie Brown.
What I said was, sorry, I was on mute. What, I'm not really sure what the fuck she has to do with anything.
Your Honor, I'm speaking this morning on behalf of the 12-year-old son of Jamie Brock. He is not able to emotionally speak in front of people. He is here in the courtroom today.
Weird choice. Why did he pick her, I wonder?
So I'm just going to read you what he wrote, okay? My name is Jaden Brock, and I am 12 years old. I wanted to talk today because my dad and stepmom was shot and killed. I miss him every day. My dad was my hero and the person I looked up to the most. We did everything together. He helped me with school, and he always made me laugh, and we joked around a lot. Since he died, everything has changed. I feel sad and confused. It's hard to sleep, it's hard to focus, and it's even hard to smile sometimes. I still wait to hear his voice or see him walk through the door, but I know that will never happen again. What makes me
I'm sorry, I was muted. What I was saying was all of that is really sad, but the fact is I don't think any of that has to do with the bond.
more sad is I trusted Sarah and I loved her like a sister. Why would she do this to me? And why would she hurt everyone like this? I don't understand why someone would do this, but I know it is not right. My dad and Kristen didn't deserve this. No one does. And I don't think someone who could do something like this should be allowed to go free right now. I wouldn't feel safe, and I would be so scared. Please think about what my family is going through. I hope you make a decision that protects us and remembers who my dad was. A good man, a loving dad who didn't deserve to die. Thank you for listening to me. And that's his statement.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions.
Ms. Brown, how are you related to the family or this situation?
I am not related to the family. I
That was a great question by the defense.
grew up with Kim, and I've known Jamie's
And what the fuck does that have to do with the fucking price of rice?
since he was 2.
Okay, friends with Kim and Jane.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And were you present when that statement was written, or was it just handed to you?
No, I was not present, no. It was written by Jaden, his mom, and Kim helped. I was just asked to read it.
Okay. And they told you that you prepared it.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that nothing in the letter says that Sarah Grace was a threat to Jaden when they were living together.
He never expressed that to me, ma'am. I would agree with that.
That's all I have. Thank you.
I love your little sniffle
You
there.
reason to hold this witness, even though she's speaking
And then
on someone else.
the shade on Sarah Grace Patrick for not
Thank you.
crying at the eulogy or whatever the fuck.
So the state judge only argument.
All right. I'm ready for argument.
Just to kind of round out the record a little bit, we're talking about the incident that occurred February 20th of 2025. The arrest date of the defendant was July 9th of 2025. Since we are operating under 1511-560, that's the concurrent and original jurisdiction in Superior Court, the individual charged in this case was a minor at the time. The rules dictate a specific time frame for us. We have 180 days to indict this case where it goes back to juvenile court. We have 90 days to indict or a bond is required, same as any other defendant here. Judge, we are looking at Ayala v. State, that's 262 Georgia 704. And in that case, the court has given us some guidelines as to what we should be looking at in regards to issuing a bond in this case that was codified in 1761 as well. First is that the defendant poses no significant risk of fleeing from the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear when required.
What the hell?
We just have a double homicide. We have a double homicide of the defendant's mother and stepfather. I don't know that cases get more serious than what we are looking at here. That's something that you should consider for each of the 4 items. As pertains to flight, there was testimony that flight is a concern for the victim's family. It's a concern for the state as well. This defendant has moved around quite a bit over the past few years. She has roots here in Carroll County, no doubt. She also has roots in Coweta.
Moving around so much, that's a sign that her parent, I moved around a lot. I'd never stayed in a school for a whole year in my whole life, and my parents never stayed in a place that long because they always stopped paying rent, or my mom went from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend. So I'm not sure what was going on in her life that made them move around so much, but it's usually not a good thing.
Roots all over the state and in Alabama. Number 2, the defendant poses no significant threat or danger to any person, to the community, or to any property in the community. The family is genuinely afraid. I've met with a significant number of the family already. I'll be meeting with just about everybody else later on this afternoon. The family is genuinely afraid on the Brock side of the family tree. They are fearful that she will reach out. They're fearful for their own safety and the safety of all the other members of that family. The defendant poses no significant risk of committing any felonies pending trial. Judge, I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, but I think there is some inherent risk in that as well. One of those felonies ties into that significant threat or danger to any person. If she is to lash out violently at one of the other family members, that would be a felony. Number 4 is the defendant poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. And it was pointed out that there is concern that the defendant would be able to influence, I'm going to use the term influence instead of intimidating, influence the 6-year-old who is a primary witness to this case. There's significant concern from the state in that regard. There's significant concern from the family members in that regard. We've heard terms like manipulation, lack of integrity, lack of accountability. Those are terms that we heard here in court today. And that is in line with what we've heard about this defendant all along. When we started, you said this is a simple application of the law. That's what we're talking about here. The state has shown that there is a significant flight risk. We've heard that from witnesses in regards to that aspect of Ayala. Significant threat or danger to the community, particularly them. Risk of intimidating witnesses, and that significant risk of committing any felony. That would include influencing a 6-year-old. That would include reaching out and threatening family members. That may, depending on the circumstances, include flight to another county or another state. We just think that at this point, this defendant is a poor candidate for bond, and bond should be denied as such.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Judge. I will respond in turn to the state's argument and then go into what it is that we have specifically for Sarah Grace. As it relates to the seriousness of the offense, we agree that the offenses are serious. What's happened here is a tragedy on both sides. And while that is something for the court to consider, it is not one of the ideal factors. We understand that the state has brought the Brock family here to voice their of the family, which would have been Kristen's family. And Kristen's family sits in support of Sarah Grace. And so there are two victims here. While there are victims on the Rock side of the family who voice their concerns for their safety, there are victims of family members who are on the Nolan side of the family who have not voiced that same concern. As a matter of fact, they're here in support of her and willing to have her live with them. The grandfather, who is Kristen's father, Sarah Grace's father, Sarah Grace can live with them. Multiple people have said that Sarah Grace was invited into their home and they're not even family. So they're willing to have her be a part of their household. With that being said, as far as the influence or threat of influence, as the state puts it, of the 6-year-old sibling of Sarah Grace, there are means for the court to avoid that contact. If the child, I don't even know that the child is 6. I think the child may still be 5 and have not yet turned 6. But I don't know this, but there's not a cell phone for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. The court could restrict that contact just like the court does in any other case where there is alleged to be some witness where there could be influence. The court could say, I order that there is no contact between Sarah Grace and her younger sibling or any of her siblings, for that matter. That can be remedied if that is, in fact, a concern for the court. What we have shown through our witnesses, Your Honor, is that Sarah Grace does, in fact, meet the requirements of the statute, in that the court shall be authorized to release a person on bail if they find that they pose no significant risk of fleeing the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear in court when required, no significant threat or danger to any person in the community or any property, no significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, and no risk of intimidating witnesses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. As it relates to the financial resources of the family, there has been no testimony as to what those resources are. Just that the Rock family believes that the Nolan family or Kristen's family has these grand resources in some regard that could assist Sarah Grace in being a flight risk. If that were the case, Your Honor, again, I remind the court that the incident took place in February and she had gone to visit the Jensen household in Alabama between that February and July time period. If, for some reason, there was to be this enlightenment that I should run, there was ample opportunity at that time. Caitlin testified that that Sarah Grace had never asked her to hide her or take her to Alabama permanently or anything like that. In addition, there was testimony as well as documents for the court admitted into evidence that Sarah Grace does not have a driver's license and that it would be better if she not drive. And she doesn't have her own personal vehicle or access to a car. And so the flight risk for a 17-year-old at this stage with no driver's license and no meaningful way to get around in that regard to be this significant flight risk, I think just isn't met. As it relates to a threat or danger to any person in the community, nobody indicated that Sarah Grace was a threat or a danger prior to this incident happening. And what we know is that hindsight is 20/20, and they're looking back on what they believe happened. And we assert Sarah Grace's innocence, and she is presumed to be innocent as she sits before the court. Is that
say it louder for the people in the back.
If she's capable of doing this, then she must be a threat. But that does not muster what is required to be a significant threat or danger. There's no indication that she has access to any firearms. Further, the court could order that she not have access or touch or be around or in the home with any firearms or anything like that. As it relates to a significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, that is typically put into the mix when there is a significant criminal history. Investigator Rogers testified that there was no criminal history before Sarah was arrested for these crimes, and there was no, there was documentation as to the GCIC that was admitted in defense bond exhibit 1. In addition to that, Your Honor, she poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice, other than Ms. Brock's feeling that she may be an intimidation to the 6-year-old. There's been no evidence, no testimony about there being any type of intimidation that has gone forward from this. Just that they believe she may be manipulative. And I understand that emotions are high, and that's what the Brock family believes. But again, I remind the court that the Brock family is not the only victim's family. There is the Nolan family as well, who do not share those same sentiments. Your Honor, in addition to those IALA factors that are in subsection E1 of the statute, there is subsection E2 of the statute that requires that Your Honor consider the purpose of bail. And we have the purpose of bail is given to us in IALA, which is the purpose of pretrial bond is to prevent punishment before a conviction and to secure appearance in court. There is no indication that Sarah Grace would not be here for any appearances in court. She has several people who are willing to bring her, who testify that they would be in charge of that. And also to prevent the punishment before a conviction. Again, IALA, that the state cited, is very clear that the most fundamental premise of our criminal justice system is that a person ought not be punished for a criminal offense until the state demonstrates guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. IALA goes further to say that unless the right to bail before trial is preserved, the presumption of innocence secured only after centuries of struggle would lose its meaning. So that is the purpose of pretrial bond, is to preserve that presumption of innocence, which Sarah Grace enjoys at this moment. She is cloaked in the presumption of innocence, unless and until the state can prove her guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That beyond a reasonable doubt standard is not met at this bond hearing. I know that the state only has the burden of persuasion in this bond, and we have the burden of production. We have met our burden of production, Your Honor. As it relates to her ties to the community, I do want to call the court's attention to Dunn v. Edwards, and that is 275 Georgia 458. It is a Supreme Court decision.
275 Georgia.
258. I have a
Thank you.
copy for the court if I may approach.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And that discusses what is required as to the burden of production on the defense as to ties to the community. In a murder case, the defendant was charged with malice murder. And the court in this case said that there was a failure of the defense to satisfy that initial burden, because the only testimony presented at the bond hearing on the issue of the defendant's ties to the community came from the investigating officer, who only testified that the defendant lived in Athens, and that was it. There was no evidence that the defendant had continuously lived in Athens for any significant period of time and had any significant involvement with family, friends, or institutions in the community. That he had a job history or that he had a reputation for reliability. Here, the defense has presented those things. So we present Dunn in juxtaposition or in a distinguishing way, and that we have produced several witnesses, 6 to be exact, as well as 8 letters of support showing her ties to community through family, friends, also institutions in the community. We have the Catalyst Church, the pastor of that church, coming to speak on behalf of Sarah Grace, saying that they would be willing in any way to facilitate her being able to get on, whether that meant staying there, facilitating somewhere for her to stay. Ties to the community for a juvenile.
I wish this lady just had a little more emotion behind this. Like, it seems like she's listing off bullet points, but I don't know. I don't want to judge.
Is a bit tricky, for lack of a better term. A juvenile has to go where their parents make them go. And I think that is, if there is a concern about Sarah Grace moving around, there being middle school in East Coweta, and then her from 9th grade on going to Central High School, which would be a 4-year period here in Carrollton. That concern should be tempered with her being a juvenile at the time and her having to move wherever parents would have her to be. So that is the demonstration of ties to the community. Any risk to the community, I point the court's attention to Creedmoor v. State, and I provided the court as well as the state copy. And that's 327 Georgia Act 368. It's the Georgia Court of Appeals case where they talk about, they do an interlocutory review of denial of pretrial bond for this client, and that there was not testimony regarding their ties to the community, and that there were multiple convictions of that defendant for driving under the influence, and then there was proper evidence of 3 previous convictions for the same thing. I present that in distinction and in juxtaposition to what we have here with Sarah Grace, is that she has absolutely no criminal history and is therefore not a risk to the community and not a risk to reoffend. Again, what has happened here is, in fact, a tragedy, and we are sorry for what has happened, but we assert and lean upon the presumption of innocence that is required by our justice system. In this case, bond denial is not proper, Your Honor. We have met the IAEA factors. We have met our burden of production through both testimonial and admitted evidence. And I also want to relate to the court that the court not only has whether or not there's a bond amount set for bond, but the court also has other tools in its toolbox and can impose conditions or a combination of conditions in order to make sure that Sarah Grace is not a flight risk or a risk to the community or anything like that. The court can impose conditions such as no social media or phone
Her attorney should impose that.
Ankle monitor, house arrest. The court has all of those tools in its toolbox to ensure that her presence is secured, and also that if she's on house arrest or has a curfew or ankle monitor, that she's not somewhere she can be. Technology is a beautiful thing, and what we have now is a GPS system that can tell you exactly where a person is at all times. And so through the courts that can be ordered, and there can be those conditions placed on the bond. In addition to that, Your Honor, because of her age, Ms. Patrick is being held in solitary confinement at the jail because the Sheriff's Department is concerned about putting her into general population. Courts have struggled with whether prolonged stay in solitary is constitutional or violative of the Eighth Amendment, especially in young people. So I just want to present that for the court's consideration as well. Again, I ask this court.
At the beginning of this, they were talking about how since she's young, they have to have this at trial for her speedy trial right in 180 days. And I hope they don't push it back, because Lord knows how long they'll leave her in solitary confinement until they force a confession out of her. Allegedly.
To protect the presumption of innocence. Based on everything that's been presented here today in court, not just the seriousness of offenses, not just this arbitrary concern that all of a sudden now people may be in danger, looking in hindsight, but based on real witnesses and testimony and presented documentation, that Sarah Grace Patrick is a candidate for bond. You know, Your Honor, this profession requires that we not only struggle with doing the right thing, which is what society says is right at the moment, but we must also do what is right, and that is the notion of justice. And the just thing, and what is right in this case, will be granting Sarah Grace Patrick pretrial release.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anything else from the state?
Just very briefly, Judge, to point out a couple just factual issues that I want to be clear for on the record. Our office, as we do in every case, did reach out to the victim's family on both sides. It is my expectation that I will be meeting with the Nolan family later on this afternoon, as soon as we are done here in court, to talk to them. They are victims in our case as well. We have a different posture in terms of the guilt of the defendant, but that is something that we do with every single case. So the fact that the line has kind of been drawn in the sand, the state must reach across that line either way, then we would do it even if we weren't statutorily required. I know that there are victims in this case. They are hurting, and we will do everything we can to help them as well. Judge, as pointed out by opposing counsel, Ayala v. State is the case on point. And opposing counsel is correct that their burden generally, to kind of put a very simple, broad brush on it, is that they are to only really proffer towards the community ties. They've done that. I don't doubt that she has ties to the community. I don't doubt that the defendant has people who care about her. She has a flight risk. We need to specify that they own so much land, and if they have different business holdings, we don't. The testimony is clear that they have the assets to send her out of state or even to far away places farther than that if it was necessary. She is a flight risk. That is the state's position. She is a flight risk. And the other factors that we've talked about, the family is genuinely afraid. We always operate in hindsight in cases like this. No one ever knows that someone is violent until they are violent. That's why the family is scared at this point, because now, in their eyes, the defendant has shown her true self, who she really is. So, of course, they would be fearful now, and they wouldn't be beforehand. We did hear some testimony regarding disciplinary issues and the fact that
I just disagree on so many levels.
this individual has had to attend an alternative school. This was a loving family. This was a caring family. They were working with her to get her into a position where she could have a fruitful life, and we ended up where we ended up. As far as the issues regarding what's going on in the jail, that's an issue for the sheriff's office. I know that they are prioritizing her safety at this point. I don't think it will be forever that she is in isolation. And as far as all the other factors, Judge, I just think that when you apply the law to all of the testimony that we heard here today, she's just not a good candidate for bond at this point. She is a flight risk. There's risk to intimidate witnesses. The state has met its burden as well. We just think that this individual should be denied bond at this point.
All right. Thank you. while I consider this, I do want to say, Ms. Williams, right?
Yes, Sean.
You've not been in front of me before, and Mr. Parrish, I believe this is one of your times performing in front of me as well. I commend both of you for being professional, and I look forward to working through this case with both of you.
And she's like, that's great. Get me the fuck out of here.
All right, to address just a couple of things, Pastor Bonner mentioned that we are the jury, and we are not the jury. My job as a judge is simply to make sure that the law is followed, and that court is done in a fair and just manner. That's my role, to make sure that everyone follows the law and that everyone stays within the rules, and I make sure that that's done. We are not the jury. And as of right now, Ms. Williams did correctly state the law that this is not the trial, and it is not the burden to prove her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt today. That is not what we are. And for those that are here, I don't want y'all to misunderstand and confuse the burdens and think that's where we're at today, because that is not where we are. On a motion for bond, defense has a burden of coming forward initially with evidence to show that the defendant does not pose a significant risk of fleeing, threatening the community, committing another crime, or intimidating a witness. And then it is the state has the burden of persuasion in convincing this court that the defendant is not entitled to pretrial release. The state has the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence that the trial court should deny bail or bond. And there's a vast difference in beyond a reasonable doubt and preponderance of the evidence. Preponderance of the evidence is essentially greater than 50%, or it's just a greater likelihood than the other side. That is vastly different than beyond a reasonable doubt at trial.
51%.
Understand that. My job is to evaluate the witnesses, weigh their credibility as they testify before me, and apply what the witnesses have said and apply their credibility to the law the best I can. Make sure that I've covered what I needed to and what I've heard from several folks. All right. With that being said, and listening to the witnesses here, if I weigh these witnesses' testimonies and I weigh what I hear today, I believe those closest, and I say closest, in family relationship expressed that they had vast concerns that she would have the ability to flee, that she would be a danger to the community, that she would be a danger to them, that she would be pose a significant risk of intimidating, or actually I think the state steered away from intimidating or influencing or manipulating witnesses. By finding that, I find the state has met their burden today by preponderance of the evidence. And Miss Patrick, because of that, I'm bound by the law, and I do not believe that you would be a proper candidate for bond at this time. With that being said, here's what I want to tell you. Very recently, the Judicial Council of Georgia recognized our court as being a clearance rate excellence award recipient, which means that we are very up to date on our cases, and we take great pride in moving cases quickly. I do not want anyone to sit in jail unnecessarily. So what I would like to do is go ahead and give you future court dates. And I'll explain this, Ms. Williams, a little bit, because again, I know you're new to being in front of me, but I would like to go ahead and give you some future dates for your case. Obviously, your case has to be indicted first. All right, that's the first process. We know when this case will go in front of the grand jury.
I'll be presenting it to the grand jury this afternoon.
All right. If the grand jury chooses to indict you, right, that would be to true bill the case. That means the case goes forward. If they choose to no bill it, then we'll cross that bridge. But if they choose to true bill, then your case will go forward. And I've asked the clerk which would be the next available arraignment that we could place her on. All right. So, and that's not the probation counter, correct? All right. So your arraignment, if true bill, okay, I'm just giving you a plan of action so that you know what's coming up. Okay. If they true bill this case, your arraignment date will be 9/22. On that date, your non-jury will be 11/17. Your calendar call will be 12/16, and I will be prepared to try your case on January 5th. All right? Now, that's incredibly fast. State and defense. I'm completely aware that y'all may ask for continuance based on those time frames. I'll need y'all to do that formally. There's a lot of interest in this case from both sides. And defense was right. Justice needs to be done. And no matter what decision was made, someone is going to feel as though justice was not served today. That's just the truth. If I would have granted bond, there would have been a large group that said justice was not done. If I deny bond as I'm doing today, there's going to be a large group that says justice was not done. That I can't avoid. What I can
I don't know about a large group.
is give this young lady speedy justice. And that's my purpose. Again, my role is to make sure the law is followed, and I do the best I can to facilitate that. So, I will be ready. If state or defense, if y'all have issues, because I'm fully aware that issues come up with discovery and with cases that are oftentimes are out of either of your control. And for the best interest of the state or for the best interest of your client, you may need to ask for continuance. The state that's in my courtroom quite often, Ms. Williams, they know I'm very reluctant to give continuances. So if y'all need that, I need y'all to file a proper motion, and it's likely we'll have a formal hearing on whatever requests for continuances need to be heard, if they're needed to be heard. If not, I'm going to stick with this time frame. Again, she's in custody, so she takes priority on my trial list, as everyone knows. Also, her age. Defense, you brought to my attention that she's in isolation, so again, it's a top priority for me to move this case as quickly as possible.
I like this guy so far.
I would say that I would ask the sheriff office to do the best they can to acclimate her with folks, but I know that our sheriff is going to do their very best. And I can't direct them on safety, and their top priority is her safety. The same as mine is to make sure that justice is done to the best of my ability. Hers is to keep her safe. And so we'll do that. So those are the dates. Any questions, Ms. Williams or the state, about those dates?
Not from the state.
Ms. Williams?
Not a question, but more so on the statement, I did file my entry in reciprocal discovery on July 11th, and I have not received any discovery. If the state would turn over that discovery as soon as possible, I'll be ready when January comes.
They still haven't fucking turned over discovery? Jesus Christ.
It's my understanding that this office in particular has an
Well, I guess technically she wasn't indicted yet.
open file policy, so I'm assuming that they're going to probably have available to you whatever they have now very quickly. And they know my practice of moving quickly, so I think they'll try to accommodate that as well. Anything else, Ms. Williams?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the state?
Nothing from the state.
All right, that'll be the order of the court. Everybody has their dates. We have a plan of attack moving forward. Hope everyone has a good day. State, I will need y'all to submit an order very fast.
All right, everybody. So thank you for joining me. Yeah, I guess we'll be back 9/22 and see what's going on. If not before then, there's tons of stuff to talk about. I watched a few more videos today and found more information on this that I didn't know. So, any new info, anything like that, I'll hop back on, or maybe if I want to talk about something else, something I've been wanting to do is do like like something true crime of the day, true crime of the week, something like that, where I look at local true crime. So I was thinking about doing that. So lots of ideas. We'll see what happens. Depends on what everybody's interested in and everything. I don't know how to send people to another stream, but it looks like Oksana is on Cryptex's stream. If you guys want to go check that out after this. If not, I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me while watching that. I just wanted to refresh. I did watch it whenever it was airing, but at the time I didn't really know all the players in this situation, so it was nice to go back and watch that with knowing what I know now. So still doesn't make me think she's guilty. I don't know. I just want to see discovery. I want to see the evidence. I'll wait till trial to make my judgments, but I just know one thing, and it's that I don't like the way people are speaking about her. So, if she did it, that's bad enough as it is. We don't need to call her names or be extra rude or anything like that. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining me here in Critical True Crime. Like or subscribe or whatever the kids are saying these days. See you later.